Hello everyone, back with me Teguh, Amor, Patria. Welcome to the sixth session, Protecting the Past for Today, Heritage Conservation and Tourism. Let's start it with the importance of conservation. A delicate balance between use and conservation needs to be developed. The built environment is a non-renewable resource. Thus, there is a sense of urgency in the heritage field to arrest decay and prevent the further deterioration of historically valuable places. Here are the reasons for heritage conservation. Scientific and educational value. Heritage sites reveal insights into past civilizations and traditions, offering resources for education. Environmental diversity. Conservation can help and wanton destruction of the historic environment and has some potential to make the past more realistic in terms of eliminating some of the biases that exist in the protection and interpretation of heritage. Artistic and architectural merit. Many heritage places are important simply by virtue of their aesthetic qualities or because they have a scarcity value, meaning they are old and old is disappearing. Revenue generation. Conserving the past is good for business and can contribute to a region's economic growth and stability. Nostalgia. Protecting the past provides stability in a rapidly changing world. Nationalism. Much heritage is actively protected by regimes in power as a way of building national solidarity with the homeland or a government in power, or nurturing a sentiment of patriotism and loyalty. Many autocratic governments maintain their version of heritage by conserving places and artifacts that best represent their ideological viewpoints. Functional use of heritage resources. The functional utility of historic buildings is often more cost-effective to raise an old edifice and rebuild a new one in its place. Now let's talk about approaches to heritage and cultural conservation. The decision about which way of the following approaches to use will depend upon the location, the nature of the patrimony being protected, the goals about why such a place should be protected, and the expectation of the potential users. First, doing nothing. Heritage euthanasia is generally doing nothing to protect the past and essentially allowing it to continue deteriorating because of reasons such as budget shortfalls, political agendas, and lack of interest in the public arena. Preservation. Preservation is when buildings and other artifacts are maintained in their current condition, thus, they are not rebuilt or refurbished in any way. There are some instances where ruined villages or individual buildings are more scientifically worthwhile and revealing than reconstructed buildings would be. Renovation. This form of adaptation involves making some changes to the built environment while maintaining some parts of its historical composition. Restoration. Restoration involves restoring or bringing back an object or site to some original form. This can entail removing parts that have been added in the intervening years since the structure was built, as well as restoring parts that are missing. Urban renewal. While some cities now have multiple cores or nuclei, the original centers usually represents the area of earliest settlement and the area of intense commerce. So what are the challenges faced to conserving the past? The following are several limitations to heritage protection that are evident in both developing and developed world contexts. First, financial and human resource constraints. Budgetary limitations. Limited funding forces heritage managers to stretch budgets, reduce services, and find alternative revenue sources. Inappropriate preservation tactics. Lack of funds leads to improper conservation, especially in less developed areas, where efforts may focus on cosmetic fixes rather than lasting solutions. There's just too much heritage to save. Some countries have too many archaeological sites and historical buildings to effectively preserve. Next, human pressures. Tourist pressures. Tourists and local visitors are among the biggest threats. The wear and tear resulting from thousands of feet and hands each year is a glaring problem at many precious places. Human habitation. People living inside historic properties create an additional layer of concern for heritage conservationists. In these situations, residents often use ruins as foundation for their present homes. Urbanization and modernization. Urbanization is directly connected to modernization, which refers to an evolutionary process wherein traditional elements of socio-economic life and technology are replaced with new innovations and lifestyles. Agricultural land use. The encroachment of farmland into areas adjacent to parks and heritage preserves have created some contentious situations where both natural and cultural heritage are concerned. Pollution. Industrialization has caused air, water, and soil pollution, damaging heritage through acid rains and toxic particles. Illicit trade in antiquities. Illegal artifact trading encourages grave robbing, unauthorized digs, and black markets for relics, often involving tourists buying small artifacts. And then, politics and political history. Colonialism. While many aspects of colonialism were negative, one of the most abhorrent form of perspective of heritage resources was the suppression of indigenous cultures and traditions of European metropolises. War and conflict. The devastating effect of war on rural and urban landscapes, causing irreplaceable damage to heritage. Inharmonious planning and lack of cooperation. Collaboration among different stakeholders is important in upholding the principles of sustainable tourism. Too often, plans are made that exclude certain important stakeholders, such as tourism services. Lack of social determination. There is a tendency in traditional societies, particularly those in the developing portions of the world, to view conservation with a skeptical eye. The prevailing attitude suggests that preserving the old is incongruous with progress and modern life. Lack of political support. Public agencies frequently place heritage on the back burner in terms of both funding and policy development. Preserving the past is seen in many places and at many times as an unaffordable luxury when public works, education, social welfare, and health care are vying for scarce tax capital. And last, natural process. Natural deterioration. One of the biggest threats to intangible heritage is not directly human-induced at all. The natural elements and their erosive processes are among the most lethal forces affecting the built environment. Protecting cultural heritage is an extremely important endeavor given the effects of tourism's growth, pressures exacted by local populations, climate change, and the natural processes of erosion. Conservation efforts today reflect a set of values and purposes that realize the economic, social, political, and scientific merits of the built environment that is worthy of protection. I hope this session gave you a glimpse of the importance of heritage conservation. Thank you and see you in the next session.